Hey guys, welcome to the dating game with Troy Francis. 3 basic communication skills every man needs. All right, we're going to get straight into this one today. Very, very important stuff. Before we do, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Please hit the notifications bell. And if you think this content is going to be helpful to anybody that you know, please either send the video link to them or put it out on your social media. Anyway, with that being said, let's dive right in. What are the 3 communication skills every man needs to learn? Okay, the first one is you need to be able to go and talk to a woman that you've never met before. You need to be able to open, okay? You need to be able to approach, all right? I mean, Jesus Christ, right? It's 2024 and there are terrible, terrible things happening in the world right now. We know what they are. I'm not going to go into it, but there are terrible, terrible things happening in the world right now. I'm sitting in London, so currently I'm relatively fortunate. Many people watching this video are probably in the UK or the United States or Canada or Australia or somewhere in the Anglosphere or in Western Europe or whatever. And the truth of the matter is our lives are pretty cushy, okay? Up to now, we've had it pretty easy, okay? Like we haven't really had to suffer that much adversity or hardship or anything like that when you consider, like, you know, what our grandparents went through and so on and so forth, or what people in different parts of the world are going through, okay? So the fact that you find it difficult to walk up to a woman who you've never met before and say, "Hey, my name's Troy. I had to come over and say hello, that you look very interesting," or I love your style. I wanted to just come and say hi," or something like that, is quite frankly mind blowing. Okay. And it's a skill set that every single guy needs to learn. Now, people are going to push back because people are going to say, "Yeah, Troy, but listen, you're a boomer. You know, we've all got the dating apps now. Everyone meets on dating apps. What are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah." Fine. Okay. I don't deny that the dating apps are now a huge part of the of the landscape, but quite frankly, who gives a damn? Because the reality is that the dating apps don't work well for most men. They work well maybe for a small proportion of guys. It also depends where you are. I mean, if you're in a country where, you know, you travel somewhere and the locals are a bit more amenable to you, it can work well there. But in general, in the main, you know, we've seen the statistics. Women are not swiping; they're not matching with the majority of guys. They're only matching with a minuscule top, like 20% of dudes or whatever it is. The rest of the guys are fighting around for the scraps. The dating apps don't benefit men, okay? And moreover, the dating apps are a business, right? They're not there to help you find the love of your life, okay? Because if you find the love of your life through the dating app, you're going to stop using the dating app and you're going to stop giving them money, and then that's going to be it, okay? So dating apps, yes, have it going in the background, whatever. If you want to use them, fine. But you need to develop the skill set, okay, to be able to go up and talk to somebody that you don't know and have a conversation with them, okay? And you know, even if, let's just assume that you are on the apps and you're doing pretty well on the apps and you're meeting women through them, and yeah, it's all good. Okay, fine, great, good for you. But you're still going to have to meet them on a date, okay? And even if, like, the date is just a couple of drinks or you go for a coffee or whatever, you're still going to have to sit down in front of her and you're going to have a conversation, okay? And my fear as a boomer, I've been around for a long time now, and obviously now, I've seen firsthand, the growth of the internet, the growth of social media and smartphones and stuff like that, and how it's increased exponentially. And of course, we're now breeding generations of people who, for their entire lives, have just been on their smartphones, right? And, sitting in their bedroom, tapping on a screen, whatever. Okay. Now, yes, that's brought some good things with it, but the art of socializing, the art of being able to go and talk to other people has suffered as a result. And I think that we're seeing this. I think there are many, many, many problems with the current dating marketplace. And, this is not the time to go into all of them. But one of them, I think, is the fact that people are just not as good at communicating. Now, a way to become better at communicating as a guy is being able to initiate conversations, because even if that's not ultimately how you meet, your girlfriend, or you meet the woman you start dating or seeing or whatever, even if you met her through an app, the very fact, if you've gone up and practiced having conversations in public with people, whether it's in a bar, whether it's in the nightclub, pool party, the library, the museum, coffee shop, whatever it is, right? If you've practiced that and you've put yourself on the line, your communication skills are going to be so much better than the average dude. Okay, even if you do it once a day, just go up and speak to someone you don't know. Just go. It doesn't even have to be anything very hardcore. Just go up and say, "Hey, listen, I love your style. Your outfit looks great. I just had to come and compliment you," and see what happens. She might just say, "Oh, thanks, yeah, haha," and then look at her phone. Okay, fine, walk off. She might go, "Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice of you to say. That's really cool. Are you from London or what? You work here?" She might initiate something with you, and then you guys suddenly are in a conversation. Great. Okay, you don't know, but the outcome is less important than the practice of doing it because, like, believe me, right? I've said this many times in these videos on this channel. The most important thing that you can do when you are one-on-one with a woman on a date situation or whatever, right, is to create some kind of emotion in her, okay, to make her feel something. And the way that you do that is, yes, it's through your eye contact. Yes, it's through touch. Yes, it's through your physicality to some degree, but it's also about your conversation skills. It's also about what you say, but and even more importantly, your ability to lead the conversation. And if you're not able to lead the conversation, if you can't think of things to say because you haven't practiced, if you come across, your voice sounds weak, you're not kind of projecting in that more dominant masculine fashion, then yeah, she might tolerate you for a bit, but it's likely you're going to lose her or you're going to lose her interest over the date or over a period of time. Okay. So this is why, we still bang the drum for what used to get called cold approach, which is basically just talking to other human beings, right? Just going up and having a conversation. And, again, Chris Williamson was talking about this recently on his Piers Morgan interview. I mean, look, yes, there are outliers. There are guys who are extremely creepy, who do this in a very inappropriate way, and that's absolutely terrible, and that shouldn't be allowed, and they should be, appropriately dealt with. But the vast majority of guys, if you go up, you're respectful, you're polite, you're not creepy, you're not sort of overstepping boundaries, you're not saying anything fucking weird. The likelihood is she's gonna be flattered, she's gonna receive it well, and even if she's not interested, it's gonna be, a pleasant, small, little interaction between the two of you for that day, okay? What have you got out of that? Well, what you've got out of that, maybe you didn't get her phone number. What have you got out of it? Well, what you got out of it is one more conversation under your belt with somebody that you didn't know before. Most guys never fucking do this, Like most guys never do this. The only people they speak to are people they work with, members of their family, people they were friends with at university or whatever. Nobody's pushing themselves outside their fucking comfort zone. I push myself outside my comfort zone. Like I can't even count how many approaches I've done. It's probably something like 10,000, okay, over the years that I've been, engaged with this stuff. And like getting into difficult, awkward social situations, not knowing what the outcome's going to be, and just letting the chips fall where they may. Okay. And what that does to you is it really hardens you up because you realize actually rejection is kind of meaningless. It doesn't really, like, who cares? And it also forces you to be able to think on your feet. So you're able to think of things to say more easily. Now, that's not to say that every single conversation I have is like this Oscar Wildean thing where it's absolutely perfect. I mean, like everybody, sometimes I'm not inspired by the person I'm with. It's kind of hard to find a topic we can gel on or whatever. But for the most part, if I'm on a date with somebody, I'm out with somebody for dinner, I can lead that conversation, right? I know how to do that. And that's not natural to me. That's not something I was born with. It was kind of the opposite. I was a fucking dork, like I didn't know how to really talk to people. I found it very, very difficult to be social with guys or with girls. Okay. But over the years, I learned to what I would regard as quite a high level how to do it. Now, I'm still sort of an introvert. I still like my own space. And I like to, at the end of the day, I'll go home and, sit in the darkened room and have a nice cup of Earl Grey tea and, whatever. But in terms of stepping up to the plate socially, 100% able to do it. And I actually quite enjoy it. But that's because I kept putting myself in those situations which are awkward. And that's what you need to do, particularly now. particularly in 2024, because we're being encouraged not to do it because of all the technology. And the fact that other people aren't doing it is actually to your advantage because it means that you're going to stand out more. Okay. And there was Chris Williamson again was talking about a stat. I think it was something like 86% of women said, I don't know the sample size or anything like that. Well, you'd have to look it up. But it was something like 86% of women said they wish that they were approached more by guys. Okay. So, and then, yes, on the other side of it, you've got the problem of some women thinking, oh, guys shouldn't be doing that, whatever. But nevertheless, there is a hunger there from women for guys to step up to the plate and be able to do this. But guys are becoming more and more pussified, quite frankly, and less able to even do the very basic thing of having a normal conversation with somebody. And it's not surprising that so many dudes are then having a problem in dating because, forego all of that if you want, but then you meet her on Bumble and then you go on the date. And then what are you going to do? What are you going to talk about then? Are you confident you can lead that conversation? And more importantly, are you confident that you can lead that conversation in the right direction, in the direction that you want to lead it in? Or is it just going to be this kind of like boring job interview type thing and then you kiss her on the cheek goodnight and then you never hear from her again? Okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, and this is again, it's these three basic communication skills that every guy should learn. The second thing is the ability to push back. Okay, and most guys, and hands up, I fall into this as well sometimes because we're all brought up to be English and very polite and nice. Sometimes we find it very hard to push back and to disagree. And to say, actually, no, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's correct. Now, I would say personally, over the last year or so, I have become, for various reasons, I've become better at this. Okay. So I am a little bit more now disagreeable. And disagreeability, by the way, counterintuitively, as so many things in dating are, is ironically a kind of an attractive trait for women because guys who are just like, they don't give a fuck. They're living their own existence. They're not, they're not trying to impress anybody. They're disagreeable. They'll say what they want to say, whether people like it or not. Okay. I have become more disagreeable. Now, I hope not in a like unpleasant way. It's not like I'm going out on my way to be rude to people or to sort of like piss people off. But, I have become a little bit more like, well, no, actually, I think this. I think you're wrong about that. I believe this. And, yeah, it stood me in good stead. I think I've still got work to do on it, but it has stood me in good stead. And I think you feel better about yourself. We're all works in progress, remember. I think you feel better about yourself because you feel more authentic, you know? Like if one of the worst situations you can get into is somebody saying something and you really don't agree with them, but you're kind of going along with it because you feel you have to or because of whatever. And ideally, you don't want to be doing that. You want to be saying, no, look, respectfully, I think that's bullshit. I think that's wrong. That's not what I believe. I think this, but anyway, look, we can agree to disagree. Or you might be more blunt than that. I don't know. It's up to you. But being able to disagree, I think, is an important thing, and it's a communication tool that many of us, I think, struggle with. But and it's all part of that nice guy thing, isn't it? Because many of us really were brought up by the culture to be nice guys, to kind of go with the flow, to not cause friction, to be agreeable, etc., etc. And there's things that are good about that, but there are also things that are bad about that. And it ultimately, we only get one life. It's much better to be authentic. It's much better just to tell it how it is, as far as you are concerned. Okay, and then leading from that, the third communication skill that guys really need to learn is the ability to say no. Okay, to say no to certain things. And once again, this is something that I've had problems with in the past. Again, it's about people pleasing. It's about wanting people to like you. It's about not wanting to rock the boat. All of those things combined. And if you're looking at it in a dating context, if you're with a girl, you really like her, and she suggests something, and you don't really want to do it, but you don't want to piss her off because you're into her, etc., etc. That dynamic comes in again. There are certainly things in the past, and I'm talking like many, many years ago now, that really, looking back, I should have said no to. you know, like nights out, going to these stupid clubs, going to like events and things like that. I didn't want to go to it. I should have said no. I should have been like, listen, I'm not down. I'm not down for it. You do you. I'm not into it. Okay. I didn't. I'm thinking of one particular situation uh, specifically. I didn't do that because I was very into the person and I was like, okay, well, I'm whatever she says, I'm going to go along with. Fucking terrible frame. Okay. Absolutely horrendous frame. All right. That's absolutely the complete opposite of what you want to be doing. And by the way, just for, you know, full transparency, this was over 20 years ago. So, you know, I've learned my lesson. But, you know, you need to, at points, be able to put your foot down and say no. Now, once more, this isn't about being just an arsehole for the sake of it. It's not about just being like, well, I'm just going to be, you know, a pain in the arse and just piss people off because I think it's funny. It's not about that. But it is about having boundaries. It is about having rules. It's about having, okay, these things are acceptable to me. These things are not acceptable to me. This is what I will tolerate. This is what I will not tolerate. And if somebody transgresses this, then they have to make a decision. They're either going to stay on board with me or we're going to part ways. And that's just how it is. Okay. Easier said than done, but saying no, super, super important communication skill. I think it's something, I'm pretty sure it's something we could all improve on, to be honest. I know certainly I could improve on it. Many other people I know, I think, probably could improve on it as well. It's hard because, you know, people talk about the nice guy syndrome as being, we talk about it in a very negative way, you know, and it's like, no, you should be a Chad the whole time and everything. But the nice guy thing is fundamentally based in human decency. We are trying to we're trying to make other people feel good. I was pausing then because, of course, it's not always based in human decency. It can also be based in manipulation as well. But let's take it at face value. Let's take it on its, you know, as it's supposed to be. What we're sort of trying to do is accommodate other people and make other people feel good and everything else. But in doing that, we are disregarding ourselves and we're disregarding what's important to ourselves. And we only have a very short time on the planet. Okay. You know, I've probably got about 20 minutes left. So if I say yes to, you know, every offer that happens to me in the next 20 minutes, then it's game over, right? So you've got to be very selective about what you do, the forces that and the people that you allow into your life and the situations that you get into. And as your life grows and it becomes more complicated and there are more strands to it, that can become difficult because you're being pulled in different directions by different people. And ultimately, you kind of got to be your own man, really. And so that's why this is such an important communication skill. So just to recap, guys need to learn to approach open conversations with women that they find attractive. All right, it's very basic stuff. Also, guys as well, by the way. I mean, you should also be prepared to walk up to, you know, in a business event, a networking event, walk up to somebody and start a conversation with that person as well. Maybe they're kind of a high value person. You should also be prepared to do that also. But, you know, given that this is a dating channel, that's obviously our main topic here. So certainly with women, something you need to learn to do, if only for the practice, if only because the more that you do that, the more you put yourself on the spot and you force yourself to have to think of things to say, the better at conversation you're going to get, okay? The second thing is basically pushing back and disagreeing if you disagree, which is, you know, fair enough. And then saying no. You know, sometimes you have to say no to stuff and it's sad and it may piss people off, but that's just how life is. So I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit notifications. Share this video with anyone that you think might find it helpful. Okay, and please share it on your social media. And it as well in the comments, if there's anything else you want me to cover, specifically around the dating arena, masculinity, self-development, etc., put it down there and we'll see what we can do in terms of videos going forward. See you guys again very soon. Bye-bye.